us off, opening statement.
All right, well, I'll tell you what, that was a heck of a night. I mean, those guys, my hat's off to SEMO. Those guys came in, they played their tails off the last couple of weeks. They played their tails off today. And tell you what, I got a lot of respect for their coach, man. I mean, I would have made the exact same call in that fourth down situation. You don't go on the road to try to, be safe and stuff like that. And he went for it, and our defense blowed up, made a hell of a stop, and gave us an opportunity to win the game. So there's obviously a lot of things we got to work on. It's a long season. There's a lot of things with, new guys here we got to get better at, and we'll do that. We'll get back tomorrow night, and there's some things that I got to do a better job with, offensively and defensively. But, at the end of the day, you got to go out and you got to find a way to win the game, and we did that. So I'm excited about that. I'm happy for those guys after all the hard work and all the transition and everything that went on this offseason to sit here 1-0. Half the country's 1-0 and half the country's not. So it's nice to be 1-0 right now. We've got a big task ahead of us next week with Liberty coming into town. So excited about that. And, they always say the biggest improvement you have is from week 1 to week 2. So we definitely need to show that. And excited and happy for those guys in the locker room right now.
Question.
Coach, what was your message to the team in the fourth quarter? I mean, you guys trailed pretty much the whole game. Just what was your message to them for them to keep fighting?
Just, that was the whole thing. I mean, on Sunday night, we do these different words, and our deal was belief. And, and I knew we had an opportunity to win the game. I mean, we just kept getting stuck in the mud offensively. We'd move the ball, and then, we made some, poor decisions in the passing game. We got a little vanilla, defensively played well all night. Just gave up that one blown coverage. Other than that, they did a great job. But, the whole thing was just don't panic and just keep working the problem and just keep on working, and we did. And, we knew at the end, and it's like, all right, we were going to have to win this game ugly and just hand the ball off and just pound it. And Seth stepped up, and he's a dynamic guy, and we got to find a way to get him the ball more.
What was your assessment on Parker?
Well, I tell you what, I'll have an assessment after I watched the film off the hoof. He played all right. He had some jitters. I mean, we kept running those glances off the RPOs, and twice Cordell beat the guy inside, and we have an errant ball behind. We had an opportunity on a vertical route where we missed a guy. So there's just, he's a little bit off. But at the end of the day, too, he's a young guy. He's a sophomore. It's his first Division I football game. You got to take that into consideration. So, hopefully, he works through some of that nervousness, some of that nervous energy. Biggest thing for him and Deuce is going to be sitting down and watching that game film and really looking at, the decision making, the processing. We had a play at the very end where we had a 3-by-1 vertical when Deuce was in there, and they blew the coverage, and number 2 ran straight down the field, and nobody covered him, and we missed him. So things like that. We just got to go back and just keep coaching them and keep working the problem.
Take me through when you decided to put Deuce in the game for a couple drives, and then when you guys then decided to put Parker back in the game for the rest of the game.
So the thought process behind that, we wanted to play Deuce a little bit earlier, and Parker had those 2 errant, RPO throws. So at that point, we're like, all right, let's change it up a little bit. Let's give Deuce an opportunity. And, he went in, he completed the nice poker route. That drive fizzled out. The second one fizzled out. And at that point, on the headsets, we were talking. We're like, all right, if we're going to win this game, the only chance we have to win this game right now, the way we're playing tonight, is we just got to run the ball. And Parker's more of a dual threat guy, and you saw that. So we went right back to kind of the Q run game. That's how we ended up moving the ball down the field at the end with some of that pacer stuff and that 2-point conversion. So that was the thought process there, was let's just get old school and ugly and 3 yards in a cloud of dust and just pound our way to the win.
I was going to ask about the rush. You guys had more double the rush than you guys had passing, 49 carries, I think, for over 300 yards, and a lot of the offense ran through Seth. So just at what point did you guys figure out that we're going to have to win this game by running, and just tell me what Seth brought to that in that game?
Yeah, well, again, when your quarterbacks are, they're young and they're struggling a little bit and trying to find your way, we know we've got some dynamic backs. I think early in the game, we were a little bit more efficient as the game went on, and they kind of knew what we were doing. They were loading the box. They were a lot more blitz heavy. But I think Washington ended up with 18 carries and Seth had 11. And, Mike had he had a good night too, but we just, what we did, we lacked tonight was explosive plays. We had some good runs. We had some good 8 yards, 5 yards, we had the one poker route. But we didn't, if we're going to win games, moving forward, we're going to have to become a more explosive offense. We got to find a way to get Cordell David the ball. He picked up 2 nice pass interference tonight, which were nice, right? But we got to find a way to get him the ball vertical down the field. We got to get some of these other receivers involved. We have to get Amonte Watkins in space. I thought TJ Pride did a heck of a job for a true freshman coming out. He did a really nice job. So there's just a lot of little things to work on.
You mentioned all the things you guys kind of have to work on, but for you, what are some of the things that surprised you in a good way? What are some things that you're pleased with?
Well, I'll tell you what, Montaño, our kicker, is phenomenal. He did a great job all night putting the ball deep into the end zone. He had that nice 51-yard field goal, and he showed that all through camp, so it was really good to see that. I thought our punter did a really good job, especially at the end when we decided to punt it to try to pin him, and we were able to do that and get the safety, so it worked out perfectly. That was really good. Defense played really well tonight. We gave up that one big touchdown again on a blown coverage, but other than that, they had a tremendous fourth down stop. You hated to see him kind of bend the way they did towards the end of the game. It got a little too close for comfort. It was losing more hair than I have, right? But I was really, really excited to watch the way the defense flew around and played tonight. That was good. We need to be better at rushing the passer, though. I thought we gave them way too much time.
The defense did a lot of bending in the game. Southeast Missouri had a lot of drives that went into you guys' territory, and they had over 300 total yards. But you guys came up with some stops when you guys needed it, especially at the end.
Yeah.
Tell me how you feel like the defense didn't fully break. How do you feel like that?
Well, when you talk about keys to winning, and I don't care where you are in America. It's turnovers, right? It's third downs, and it's red zone efficiency. So if you're on defense and you're making guys kick field goals, you're doing a really good job. You know what I'm saying? So they did a good job of bending, not breaking. Those guys had an opportunity to, they kicked some field goals and missed one, which was a really big deal. So again, those guys did a really good job. Again, if in this day and age, if you're giving up 300 yards, that's not a lot. We didn't have a lot of offense tonight, and they didn't have a lot of offense tonight. I didn't think either offense was that dynamic tonight. I thought both defenses played pretty well. So we got to pick it up on offense to help those guys out. Our defense was on the field a little too long tonight.
Yeah, you guys had a lot of time before that 4th and inches that Southeast Missouri had. You had a chance to speak to your team as well in the big huddle before. And what did you tell your team in that moment?
Honestly, it was everybody was really calm. Joe was going through this deal with the defensive coaches, and I kind of stayed out of their way and let them do their thing.
Third year with the program, first as a head coach here at MSU. Just what did this win mean to you? I saw you celebrating with your family after the game. Just what did that mean to you from when you were hired to now, getting your first win with MSU?
I love this place. It's a great place, and it's it's so important we continue to have success here. I'm saying? This program has been stuck for so long, so to have the last 2 years that we did and have an opportunity to continue having it move forward is a big, big deal. It's funny, the longer you do this, this is year 26 for me. And, the longer you do it, it's like you're just really happy for those kids. You know what I'm saying? You know how hard they work. They all have different stories. They all come from different places. This is a heck of an opportunity for them to change their lives. All these coaches move their families all over the place. We got a whole new staff here, a couple of guys that stayed around. So just for their families, for our players, for their families, for everyone that's invested in this program, guys like Mario, our administration. It's just really good to see how everyone celebrate. And those guys and the Aggie fans are going nuts and they're shaking the cowbells. And there's been a lot of years here where there wasn't a lot of cowbell shaking. So it's good to be in competitive games. Again, that was a little too close for comfort. We need to get better, but it feels good personally. But really, I feel really great for the Aggie Nation.
You said you guys have a lot to work on for next week, and obviously next week's going to be a big test with Liberty coming in. What do you feel like are some of the biggest things that you guys need to work on in order to beat Liberty?
It's hard to say right now until you watch film. You got to go back and you got to really dissect it. I guarantee we're going to find a lot of things that are going to drive us crazy watching film, things we got to get better at. Number one, we got to figure out how to be a more explosive offense. We're a little one-dimensional tonight. We've got to get that passing game going if we're going to play. If we're going to play in meaningful games and have a chance to beat a team like Liberty. Defensively, we're just going to have to make sure. Again, we're doing a great job of communicating. Don't give up any cheap touchdowns like we did tonight. And I think those are the main things off the hoof. Again, getting that quarterback spot right, becoming a more explosive offense to help the defense out.
Did you expect maybe kind of a close contested contest like this, or did you want a little more points?
I think when you look at week one college football all over the place, there's some games that you just scratch your head. You're like, wow. Certain teams you don't think are going to hang do. And, before I don't even know what the final score is, but I remember I just was clipping through the Liberty game at halftime, and I think they were up by 7 on Campbell right before the end of the half and stuff like that. I don't know how it ended up, but it's just, again, you would love to just walk away with games, but that's just not reality. You know what I'm saying? Well, I know that we have a chance to be a good football team, but I don't know if we're there yet. There's a lot for us to work on, and again, it's just about finding ways to win, and we did that tonight.
Liberty ended up winning, I think, 41-24, so
yeah, there you go.
Going back to Adrian's question a little bit, obviously a special moment for you. First one as head coach at your alma mater, snapped that losing streak at home for the home opener since 2014. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah.
So that another added aspect.
I think those ghosts showed up to try to get after us tonight.
They tried, but they didn't get away with it. All of these things together, just happening in week 1, what does this really do looking at the whole rest of the season, really setting the tone for the duration of the year?
Well, I tell you what, again, doing it as long as I have, I mean, there are nights where you go out and you play really good football and you walk away with a loss. And it's hard. I mean, no matter how well you played. So, in a night like this where we did not play a great football game, but we found a way to win at the end, it's going to be a lot easier to walk into the film room tomorrow and talk to your guys and get them motivated and have them own it and really understand, all the little details that we're going to have to take care of, to grow as a football team and to get better. So, it's always easier to coach those things up, after a win than it is after a loss.
Time for one more.